So one of those early AEW ideas was the feud with Brandon Cutler, which I was so entertained. That kept me tuning into that program every
That's
week.
great that you say that. That's
Yes.
wonderful that you say that. I didn't mean to cut you off,
No,
because
absolutely.
the feud with Cutler was completely just written on the fly because we were just two guys that had nothing to do and we weren't doing anything, and it was just something happening during the pandemic, you know.
And that's one of
And
those
I'm
things,
glad.
like when I look at, people online always say, oh, well, this person is booked this way and they always lose. And I'm like, well, I watch these two guys lose all the time. And they made it a story. They
Right.
they did that while making other people look good, making themselves entertaining, playing
Yeah.
off of one another, because it's always easier to play off of somebody else as well.
Totally. It's
And I
fun.
mean, I was invested in that. I was invested in seeing who was going to lose first, who was going to win first. I thought the face off with Tony Khan there was brilliant. Like, what all do you all have to go through to even get like Tony involved in that? He is a busy guy, but I mean, he had to see the magic that was involved there as well.
I'm hoping that he did. I like I said, everything up until that point was just complete. The loser versus loser thing was completely done on the fly. There was no writing for it. It was legit just done per show. We discussed it. We made things just kind of happen. Um, yeah, I'm not sure where the history of the pandemic. The pandemic started. I think like a
March 2020 is when the shows
yeah,
got canceled. Yeah.
and October 2019 is when the show I think hit TV. So we were only on for a few months. Um, the librarian was doing some TV and then immediately pulled from TV and put on Too Dark occasionally, and then with no direction. Um, the librarian character really never had any direction, so it was just kind of business as usual. I show up to work and no direction, and then the pandemic started, and then most of the California guys aren't on the road, uh, and then just we just started just kind of building this thing between me and Brandon on BTE because we were, yeah, like you said, just both the losers record, and that was just suggested and kind of written by the
So
Bucks and Brandon and me all together talking, but mostly them.
so who's the? I assume is it maybe the Bucks that went to Tony and said, "Hey, can you do this face off for this?"
So that I asked Tony to do that because we were in the Jacksonville hotel and everyone was downstairs, mingling, doing the brothering thing, talking, chatting, and doing that. And me and Brandon we had this idea like, hey, let's do a press conference.
Yes.
So that I don't remember whose idea it was. It was what it was. I was just going to say it was a collective idea of Brandon and I. Let's do this press conference and make this like it's a big fight field because of how silly it is, the two losers. And then Tony was there. I asked him and he said yes. So it was all impromptu on the spot. We just all happened to run into each other and made it work. And it's awesome. I think that's one of Tony. I think that's Tony's only thing he did on BTE.
Might be, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. He had a lot of fun. He was all smiles and everything, like when the camera wasn't rolling. And after watching it back too, man, I forgot how animated his face was, and it was good stuff.